Oh my goodness. So Allie, you just moved from where to where? Where are you joining us from today?
So I'm in Greenville, South Carolina right now. I just moved here from San Diego. So I'm like born and raised Southern California girl. I grew up in Murrieta, which is like an hour outside of San Diego, and have lived in San Diego for the last like year and a half and just moved here. So there's a lot of bugs. It's humid. I basically like don't want to get dressed any days because I just want to be like free in this humidity, like to just I like it on my skin. My skin's doing really well. My hair's doing good, but it is just like a new kind of hot that I'm having to get used to.
Well, I love that you get to experience two of what I would say are one of the most beautiful places in the US. So I went to
Mhm.
college in San Diego, but I haven't been back recently. I was a torero back in the day.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
yeah, so San Diego's pretty amazing, but I've never made it to South Carolina, but all my friends that have gone have just said it's just so gorgeous. The people are so amazing. And
Mhm.
what brought you to South Carolina?
Well, those two things you mentioned, it's so beautiful. The people are amazing. It's really got like this family feel, but still
Yes.
super like trendy. And it's got this really cute downtown, good shopping in little parts,
Ooh.
like really good food. It's like a foodie town. So it's really fun. But I've been here over the last several years. I've come here probably like 5 or 6 times because the COO of my company lives here, and we were trading off visiting each other to work quarterly in person. And I started coming out here, and I'm like, you stay here, I'm coming to you like the next 5 times because it's so cute here. And then I brought Brian and the kids, and we just fell in love with it, and we ended up buying a house here. Not We didn't really super plan on it, just kind of we were curious and looked around, and it just fell in our laps, and thought we would maybe use it as an investment, and then just decided this year, like, let's just go there. We're kind of just done with California for now, and we're gonna go. So here we are.
Oh, I love it. Well, Allie, I know that a lot of my listeners know who you are. However, there may be some that don't know Allie. And so I would love for you to share with our listeners who is Allie and all about you and what brought you here today, because we're going to tackle everything from clutter to overwhelm, guilt. We may just even touch on some things about your business and how you've been able to get it here. We may talk on kids and health. Who knows? Allie and I are here to have fun and really provide you with some tactical tips for you and your journey. And in a lot of ways, Allie is very bold and boldly beautiful. She boldly owns her gifts and her imperfections. And I think that's why so many people really fall in love with her and are appreciative of all she provides. And she has a new book. So we are going to have so much fun today. So, Allie, tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing space on the platform that you built with me. That I know how much it takes to build something, and I appreciate that. But yeah, the work that I do in my business is my passion. I love coming alongside women, especially mothers, and really just lightening that load for them. I think there's so much that we carry physically in our spaces and metaphorically in ourselves, and in our calendars, like just in the way that life is going. If you're a business owner, like it's even more to carry, right?
Yeah.
And I really love to come in and just help people remove that physical and metaphorical clutter and lighten things up for themselves, not carry so much, intentionally and deliberately remove things that are unnecessary, that are just dead weight, that are not serving you, or
Yes.
used to but aren't anymore. And that encompasses a lot. So I basically built out this framework, this like method, um, about 5 or 6 years ago when I was turning my blog into a business. I've been blogging and on the internet like this for like 11 years, 10 years, and turned it into a business like 5, 6 years ago. And so really I like to start at home. I think that it would be easy to start with like, oh, mindset, or like, you're as a physical person. But really, like, because of what I call hot mess mom culture, moms have a really hard time starting with those things. They don't get it. They don't see that it's important. Or if they do, they don't feel that they're worthy of focusing on that. So I really
Right.
like starting at home with a physical space because it's very tangible. You can go right now,
Hmm.
bag up a bunch of crap it's not serving you anymore and get rid of it. And it's therapeutic. And then from there, you have more space, more time, more energy. You're not catching up on the house so much. And then you're more available to focus on the internal you, your calendar, all the other things. So that's the work I do. And then personally, I've been married to my husband, Brian, for almost 14 years. And we have 4 kids together. My kids are 12, 10, 9, and 6. I have to think about it every time.
So ironically, my first four are almost exactly your same ages. So I have I have 11, almost 10, almost 8, and 6. So
Okay.
those are my four oldest. So I know those ages well. And Spencer and I similarly, our anniversary, you're just a little ahead of us. We got married. My husband's a little bit older, yeah, than me. And so when we got married, we were just like, got married and we just started having babies.
Yeah.
So a little bit, people would like see us after a few years and they're like, were you guys just dating and now you have like 3 kids? What is going on here? So well, I love that about your journey. And I love what you said about not just decluttering your home, but decluttering can also be letting go of guilt and that overwhelm, and that kind of what you said is like that hot mom mess feeling.
Yeah.
And I love that you kind of connect those two. So you were a mom blogger for a lot of years, and what prompted this, like, I'm going to make this a business. I'm going to take this from just a passion, a hobby, something I do on the side, to
Hmm.
no, I'm going to run at this and I'm going to make this a business.
Well, I mean, there's so many layers. I think with any part of any person's story, there's so many layers. And that
Yes.
part of my story is very, very layered. But the main thing was I was basically my family was living like beneath the US poverty line. Like Brian had a
Mhm.
job, but it barely made ends meet. We're living in Southern California, like everything is expensive. That was our home. Like all of our family is there. We're having these babies. We're doing our best. We're trying to figure it out. And when things were good with the company he worked for, everything was fine. But there
Yeah.
was so many like surges of drama inflicted on the workers by the company because it's corporate. It's just the way it was.
Yeah.
It was this really big company, and he did like TV and internet installing and things like that. So normally things were fine, but then they'd go through these bouts of like cutting down hours. They would like massively, massively cut your ability to do any extra work or
Mhm.
overtime, which we heavily relied on. And so we would go through these really long periods of time of literally like we have $20 to last a week and a half. Like, what are we going to do? So super stressful. There was actually a lot of trauma inflicted on Brian and I because of that time. I don't really know how our marriage made it through that. Maybe just desperation or togetherness in that, but it was extremely difficult. So we were in that place, and here I am blogging, sharing. Like I was learning a lot at that time in my motherhood. I was very overwhelmed. I had been blogging and just sharing like my thoughts and like things I had worked through to make motherhood like more doable, and just sharing little things and having a really small community online. And then I started to figure out, like, setting aside the money troubles we had, I started to figure out how to make my motherhood lighter. And I came upon this idea through this like epiphany moment I had in my bathroom, like on the bathroom floor in a pile of tears,
Mhm.
so overwhelmed. Like I was absolutely depressed and
Yeah.
didn't know. I wanted this. I wanted to be a mom. I loved my husband. I loved my life, but I was waking up with dread. And I realized it was really because everything was upside down, and all of my energy and all of my time and efforts were going into things that were supposed to be side notes. The side notes
Mhm.
had become the main theme, and that's all I did
Yeah.
was maintain this house, this space, and just the dinner, the food, the snacks, the wiping down the high chair, changing diapers, wiping boogers, doing all these things and trying to keep up, and keep up with this standard for mothers that I didn't set for myself, that I had accepted and received from external people in society. And it was exhausting and it was running me into the ground. And when I realized that and flipped it, all the stuff that I was maintaining, I looked around my house and it was like, this doesn't even need to be here. Like I'm maintaining
Mhm.
things we've had for years. Like why is it even here? And it's there so the kids pull it out. Then I got to put it away. I got to wipe it down and clean it up and put it back on the shelf and organize the crap. And
Yeah.
so I started in my home, and that was my realization. And that led to me having more time, more energy, feeling so much better. I started doing it in my entire house. And then that carried through into my wellness in my life. So as I'm doing all this, I'm blogging for free and sharing
Mhm.
and building a bigger community. And, um, you know, ads just didn't align with me. I didn't want
Mhm.
to have a site full of ads. It just wasn't what I personally wanted. And I was getting like very resentful because here I am
Mhm.
sharing, people are asking me questions or asking me for my I was building up expertise. I certainly was no expert at the time, but I'm sharing. And people are
Yeah.
taking that from me and asking for more. Then it got a little bit bigger and it got to the point where on Instagram and social media, like I'm getting asked all these questions. People are asking me if what do I do with this and sending me pictures and I'm
Mhm.
answering and like just being so available to the public for nothing. And
Mhm.
then in my own life, I don't know if I'm going to have enough cereal for my kids. Like I got very resentful.
Yeah.
And I was raised at a very, very oppressive religious school where I was literally taught you should go to college and all the things, but it's basically for nothing because women are not supposed to work once they have kids. You're not supposed to make money, certainly not more money than your husband. Like that's a no-no.
Mhm.
It was very oppressive, and so that old programming was there. So I'm sure you can see how I was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place and not sure what to do. But basically, I had had enough. I connected with my own version of who God is and what my message is and what my purpose is and what I believe about women. And through that journey, started my business, turned the blog. I started creating courses. I started going and researching. I decluttered a widow's house after her husband died and she felt ready. I did houses with 11 kids and 3 giant playrooms full, full of toys, full of just junk that wasn't even being used. I did a hoarder's house. It was terrifying, but I did it. I helped
Yeah.
her. I did research, research, research. I started becoming an expert. And over that next couple years, I developed Your Uncluttered Home. I started my business. I started making money. My husband left his job. He works with me now, and we went from there.
Oh, wow. What do I even say to all of that? Because there's just so much goodness there. And what I hear from a lot of my listeners, and I'm sure you hear the same, is when they have a struggle, just like you said, where there's this disconnect on who you're feeling called to be and what others are telling you you should be. And
Mhm.
it's this I think that's what that moment on that floor really was for you. You're on the floor, you're feeling like there's this could there this I am, and yet I'm being told should or no no no. And I love that you just it probably was very complicated, very hard, and probably a lot of people didn't understand, but you're like, no, like I can create a business. I can make money. Like I can, and because I hear from so many women that they're so embarrassed when they make more money than their husband, or
Mm.
they feel like they're not supposed to. And I just love how you were just like, no, like we can barely keep food on the table right now. I'm being called into this and I'm going to step into this. I'm not going to step away from it and I'm not going to hide from it
Mhm.
anymore. Or so I love that. And I can only imagine how hard that must have been. So you turn this into a business, and now today you have all these amazing messages for moms and even everyone out there.
Yeah.
What do you feel is like the biggest message that on your I don't want to say on your deathbed, but like when people talk about Allie someday, they're like, this is what the message she brought to my life. What is that message?
I think it's hope. I think
Yeah.
it's if it's not working, if you're not lit up, it doesn't have to be that way. And
Mhm.
I think even like going back to what we were just talking about with women and making money, and then also like your home and how your space feels and how your motherhood is going and how your weeks are going and how you feel. If it's like question the